What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I want to give a huge shout out to my brother, BFTB Boxing, on creating history, okay? He absolutely created history by setting up and being essentially a mediator for undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney, who is 26 wins, no losses, no draws, 15 wins by way of knockout. He's 22 years of age, stands at 5'8" with a 71-inch arm reach. He last was in the ring against three-division world champion Jorge Linares that took place May 29th of this year. He got a unanimous decision victory, okay? It looks like he'll be on the verge, that being Devin Haney, of facing the longest reigning champion within the sport of boxing, that being WBC super featherweight world champion, who is going to have to move up to lightweight. That is 31 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 18 wins by way of knockout. He's 33 years of age, 5'4.5" with a 64-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was February of 2020 with a unanimous decision, that being Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Okay, Gary Russell Jr., Devin Haney, there was a lot of talks that they could possibly be facing off against one another. There was a lot of build-up to a showdown between one another, and it just simply did not come to fruition. Okay, there was a lot of back and forth going on. Okay, via my platform, via BFTB platform, and a few other platforms. Okay, with that said, you know, they hit a snag, and now Devin Haney, he was looking forward to facing off against undefeated unified lightweight world champion superstar boxer Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, he's going into a showdown with his IBF mandatory challenger and undefeated Australian star boxer George Kambosos Jr. It was actually scheduled to take place this Saturday night, but Teofimo Lopez, he ran into an issue where he tested positive, and now that fight has been off and is pushed back to August 14th. So that means if he comes back in the ring after August 14th, should he beat George Kambosos Jr. on Triller, more than likely Teofimo Lopez won't be back in the ring till more than likely around November time, okay? With that said, that's a long ways off for Devin Haney. Devin Haney wants to stay active. He wants to fight the best. And not to mention legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter, legendary promoter Bob Arum, who promotes Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez just signed an extension. Bob Arum, he stated when asked about a possible showdown between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, and Bob Arum, he stated he has no interest in making that fight simply because Matchroom CEO and promoter who co-promotes with Devin Haney, DH Promotions, Devin Haney's father, trainer, and manager, Bill Haney, that being Eddie Hearn. He says that they can get a deal done with Bill Haney and Devin Haney, but Eddie Hearn will then come and be involved, and he simply essentially stated he don't want no involvement with Eddie Hearn. So he says that even though Teofimo Lopez may want that fight, he don't care what Teofimo Lopez wants because he signed under contract, and actually Teofimo Lopez was scheduled, according to reports, to make an October 2nd ring return after what was scheduled to be this Saturday, June 19th showdown with George Kambosos Jr. as a pay-per-view. His headline, his first pay-per-view under his new deal with top-ranked ESPN and Bob Arum. But obviously that has been pushed back and pushed off. So that leaves Devin Haney essentially looking for an opponent. We know his WBC mandatory challenger in Ryan Garcia, undefeated rising Mexican lightweight title contender, superstar boxer. Ryan Garcia took a hiatus from the sport of boxing. Now he's saying that he's going to make a ring return, but opponent is yet to be announced, and it seemed like his other, that being Devin Haney's mandatory challenger in Javier Fortuna, was supposed to be Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna July 9th, excuse me. But Ryan Garcia pulled out, cited health reasons. So Devin Haney is void of opponent. He's looking for a quality opponent. And with that said, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., he's been seeking the best quality opposition. Now he has one loss that came at the hands of three-division world champion, former two-time Olympic gold medalist, superstar boxer who was the unified lightweight world champion in Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko. Okay, that's the only blemish on his resume. And that's another fight that Devin Haney has been seeking out. but he has a big fight himself coming up next Saturday against Nakatani, that being Lomachenko. So there's not many options right now for Devin Haney, and it seems like this is a match made in heaven. Now, there was a lot of talks, and it was supposed to be Gary Russell Jr. He had opponent, it seemed like was on the verge, but it just never materialized, and that was Gary Russell Jr. against Ray Vargas. Ray Vargas and Gary Russell Jr. was supposed to, materialize. Ray Vargas became his mandatory challenger. It seemed like that was a fight that was going to materialize. That would have been a huge fight for Gary Russell Jr. But again, it just never materialized. Ray Vargas, is a very, very worthy opponent. 34 wins, no losses, no draws. 22 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 5'10.5" with a 70-inch and a half-inch arm reach. Last time we saw Ray Vargas in the ring was July of 2019 when he got a unanimous decision victory. So with that said, that fight never materialized. Ray Vargas, 34 years of age, seemed that he needed a big fight, but it just never came to fruition, okay? So Gary Russell Jr., he's been inactive since 2019, a very long time, and so, he's looking for a big fight and a big opponent. And what other big name and big fight? Why not Devin Haney? And like I said, there was a lot of buzz surrounding this fight last year, and now it seems like it's back up and running. Gary Russell Jr. was seeking out the $2 million for this fight with Devin Haney, and now Bill Haney has come up with the $2 million. So now essentially they have to just put pen to paper and figure out a date. Obviously, like I said, Gary Russell Jr. Has been out the ring, so the sooner the better should be for Gary Russell Jr. And Devin Haney, he just got out the ring May 29th. So obviously, Devin Haney is going to not be ready possibly till, probably the first week in August, okay? You would say about the first week in August would be, essential for this fight to materialize. Obviously, they have to take it back to their respective teams. Devin Haney, they have a deal with DAZN and Matchroom, so they have to take that back to them. And obviously, Gary Russell Jr., he's with Premier Boxing Champions, PBC, and founder and advisor Al Heyman. So he has to take that back to Al Heyman to get confirmation on his end. But he was seeking out $2 million, and now there's a $1.5 million deal on the table with a $500,000 incentive should Gary Russell Jr. be victorious in the fight. So should Gary Russell be victorious in the fight, he'll get $2 million. So up front, he's going to get 1.5, and the incentive on the back end is $2 million. So with that said, and then Devin Haney is going to be seeking at least $2 million himself. Okay, Devin Haney, he's been getting paid millions of dollars for quite some time. So I'm sure that he'll be seeking out the same similar number, if not more, for this showdown with Gary Russell Jr. But this is going to be a high-level chess match. This is going to be a very interesting fight. Gary Russell Jr., he stated that he'll go up as far as to 147 and challenge the likes of 3-division world champion, undefeated WBO welterweight world champion, who's the former undisputed junior welterweight world champion, and widely considered by many to be the best pound-for-pound fight in the world, that being Terrence Bud Crawford. So with that said, Gary Russell Jr., he has interest in this fight with Devin Haney, and according to reports and according to on BFTB Boxing, go check this out on BFTB Boxing. You can check this out on his platform, and a deal has been agreed upon. So both parties now have agreed. Now all we're looking for is them to actually make it true 1,000% official. In this fight, Devin Haney's going to have size advantage, youth. He's only 22. He is 5'8". Gary Russell Jr. is 5'4", so he's going to have a 5-inch height advantage. He has nearly a 72-inch arm reach. Gary Russell has a 64-inch arm reach, so he's going to have an 8-inch arm reach advantage. He's actually obviously the more youthful guy here. Being 22 years of age, he's definitely the younger guy, but he's getting a lot of experience. He just faced off against 3-division, world champion, superstar, future Hall of Famer Jorge Linares. He faced prior to that former Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion Yuriorkis Gamboa. So he's garnering experience, okay? Gary Russell is 33 years of age, so he's 11 years older than Devin Haney. Devin Haney, has beautiful boxing, slick boxer, rangy, has power, respectable power. Some people would say he doesn't have power, okay? He's not a power puncher, but he has honest power, keep you honest power, okay? He has very quick feet, very rangy, and a high ring IQ. Gary Russell is probably the fastest guy in the sport of boxing, hand speed wise. Very educated feet, one of the highest ring IQs you can find in the sport of boxing. And he definitely has power, and he's a southpaw. So it's going to be an interesting chess match. Can't wait to see how it unfolds and how everything plays out. Let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.